I was auditioning for the tour, they told me I would need to be in New York for a week. So I believe my audition was a Tuesday, I think. My initial audition was a Tuesday. Wednesday was my callback, my dance callback. Thursday was the workshop, and then Friday was the final audition in front of the producers, Sergio, the amazingly talented Sergio, and the iconic Dez. And so Tuesday, my initial audition, I thought I was just doing Barry. Wednesday, I just thought I was doing Barry. And then they told me, hey, for the workshop tomorrow on Thursday, prepare these crew scenes. So I was like, okay. Had no idea why. Didn't get it. Just didn't get it. Because I didn't know that the crew, I did not know that the Barry and crew tracks intersected. I didn't know there was an understudy thing going on because I had only done Jersey Boys regionally and we didn't have understudies. So I didn't know that was the thing. I didn't know that it was Titus Burgess playing M5, playing Barry, and then they took it out and were having white people playing, Hal Miller. I didn't know any of that. Like all that was unbeknownst to me. And so when they said I was gonna go in for crew, I was like, oh, look at them being, they want the chocolate crew. Okay, I can do that, And so I stayed up all night learning those crew scenes. Thank God I had done the show before, so I kind of knew a little bit of the scenes. And then I went in for my workshop and I worked on the scenes with Michael and it was amazing. Then I got into the final audition with Dez and Sergio and I didn't do them. They didn't have me do the crew scenes. So I thought, honestly, I don't know what I thought. I was just like, I was a little disappointed I didn't get to do them because I thought I was great, when we worked on them, but they didn't want to see it. So I was like, okay, it's fine. Cut to, I booked the show and then we started rehearsals in late November, I think. They did not tell me that I would be understudying crew until I think a week and a half before we left for Detroit.
A week and a half?
Yes. So I unfortunately I did not do maybe 2-3 weeks of the rehearsals that the other understudies got to do. I didn't do them, which was interesting because I was always the only boy because all the guys understudied somebody. I was the only boy who was like walking into rehearsal with the girls every day. And I was just like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, my part's, I ain't got to do all that learning. And so cut to, they tell me that I'm going to be understudying crew. And I was like, oh, okay. As you all know, because you're theater people, you know that there's no room for an understudy rehearsal during tech and during, your first weeks of the shows, because so many other things are going on. So frankly, when they told me I was understudying crew, they told me about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks before we left for Detroit. I didn't rehearse crew for the first time until maybe towards the end of Dallas, when we were in Dallas. And that was about a month later because we had our Christmas break and then we went on our layoff and everything. So I said all that to say, I did not rehearse crew for a very, very, very long time. But I mean, I'm a professional. I was watching, I was listening, things like that. And then I think I did 2 runs of crew. What did I do? So I had one rehearsal where we did act 1. I had another rehearsal where we did act 1 again. I did a third rehearsal where we ran the whole show. And then I had another one where we ran the whole show. So I really only did act 1 twice and act 2 twice.
And this wasn't even a put-in. This was just in the rehearsal room.
These were not put in. No, these were rehearsals. These were rehearsals where we were blessed to have Michael in the room. That's and we did that. So I only did 1 full run of crew, a full run from top to bottom. Every other rehearsal I did was like a spotty, let's start act 1. Let's start the second half of act 1. Let's start act 2. And then something our Bob Crewe, Eric, our amazing Eric, he called out. Not Eric, that's not the child's name. Yes, Eric. Eric called out. And then we had our crew, Sean McGee, go on as Bob. And I was called to go on for Crew. And I literally said to Stacy, our stage manager, she said, I want to put you on for Crew tonight. How do you feel about that? And I literally said, I'm down if you're down, you know? And so that's how it happened. So I literally went on for Crew with only one full run through.
Wow.
And no put in, no
put in at all.
None of that.
Yo.
Not a put in. No. Because a lot of times when we know someone's gonna call out, sometimes they'll shadow. They'll have an opportunity to like shadow the actor and backstage and watch them, things like that. I had no idea the backstage life of Crew. This is what I was telling my parents. Like when I said my parents don't really know theater stuff, they're not really theater people. I was telling my mom, I was like, Mama, I'm going on for Crew tonight and I'm so nervous. Like, pray for me, I'm going on. And she was like, don't you know his lines? And I was like, girl, it ain't just about knowing the lines.
I can't take that. My mom does the same shit, man.
Don't you know his lines?
It's like, Mom, I'm stressed. I have this deadline done. She's like, you didn't get it done? And I'm like, I'm working on it. You know,
it's not like you're a swing where you can just take the night off and watch his track and shadow him. You're on stage.
I told my mom, I was like, Mama, it's not just about knowing his lines. He has clothes to wear. Like, I don't know the backstage life of him. I don't know where he goes to change. I don't know when he changes his socks or when he changes his shirt. I had no idea. I happen to have, it's by nobody but the grace of God. We have amazing dressers. We have amazing dressers. But sometimes it's difficult when you're doing a tour because you have new dressers for each city that you're going to. Right. And you don't really get to have a rapport with them or things like that. This was a one-nighter. So I didn't have a chance to I didn't even know the layout of the theater backstage. So I met my dresser. I can't remember her name. She was amazing. She was so, so good. And she was the bomb. I mean, she knew, she had her little paper. Every time I came off stage, if I was going the wrong way, she would like be like, King, this way. Like, she was on it. She did not let me go in. I was on a leash, okay? Mm-hmm. Like a hard leash. And she would tell me like, okay, we're going to take the shirt off the pants, change the socks. Like, she was on it. So I say all that to say, like, I had no idea what I was doing, like backstage. It was by the grace of God and our dressers, because I had no idea what I was doing. I did not even, this is how important rehearsals are. I did not even know that I had to wear glasses as the judge and wear glasses as the guy in the car who shoots the other guy. I had no idea, y'all. So here I am backstage thinking, okay, the car has to go on spike pink. Okay, good. Good job, King. You're remembering your spikes. It's all gonna be good. You're gonna get on stage, you're gonna kill it, bada bing, bada boom. Child, they put on these dark sunglasses on my face.
For Donnie, right? Yeah.
Yes. And I'm like,
wow.
I gotta wear these? And they're like, yes, because the gun, it's for safety. Child, I was on stage like this. I was like, where's the car? Where's the pink spike? I was Stevie Wonder. I'm telling you, could not see. I was Ray to the Charles. I could not see anything. And when I did the judge, y'all, I was backstage. I was ready. The judge is the second time I'm on stage.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm ready. I got my robe on. Get my voice ready, because my judge, I wanted him to have like a little deeper, raspier voice because he's supposed to be elderly and I'm, a ripe 16-year-old. And I was like, okay, cool. We're going to get on stage. It's on the pink spike. It's another pink spike. Cool. Boom. Child, they put those Steve Urkel glasses on me. I could not. And I already have a condition because I'm nearsighted. I already should have glasses on, but I don't. I went to take that big desk thing on stage. It was only John and Devin who let me know that I was center on the stage, because what pink spike? I didn't see no pink spike. What pink spike?
You know what they say, shove with love.
Shove with love. And I literally told Justin Allbinder, he's a great friend of mine. A Crewe and his character, they have like their little relationship that's kind of on the wraps, but not really on the wraps.
Exactly.
I said, you tonight absolutely have permission to put your hands on me. I said, you can shove me wherever, you can kick me wherever, just get me on the stage and make sure I'm in the right place at the right time. And that's what we did. It was a team effort, and I'm so grateful. Everybody had my back. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so that leads to, so we actually interviewed the makeup and hair crew, the dressing and hair crew for these stages.
Yeah.
So you really have different dressers every single city?
We have different dressers
every
single city. This is one of the things that like they don't teach you in theater school, because this is my first tour ever. This is my first Broadway tour, national tour, all of that. Never been on tour before. So I'm blessed because I don't really have a quick change. I think my quickest change is going into short shorts, which is maybe like 45 seconds, 50 seconds. And in the theater world, that's an hour. That's not a quick change. And so what I'll normally do is I'll go to my dresser and I'll introduce myself. Normally I try to ask them where they're from, if they're from the city, just to create a rapport with them real quick, because we don't have a lot of time to like play around. And so I'll say, like, do you have any questions for me? Is there anything that you need to know about the track? And they ask me questions. And I'll normally tell them I'm pretty self-sufficient. The most important thing is please remind me that I have a hat on my head. Because as y'all can see, I have a lot of hair and I wear a wig in the show.
Yes, sir.
I can't feel shit.
Yeah.
So there have been days where I've almost gone on for Barry Belson with a chef's hat on. Because I can't feel it.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like those few things, like I make sure that I communicate with them. But ultimately, I have to say, honestly, I have not had any bad experiences.
Yes,
knock on wood. And you will never knock on wood, I have not. We just did a show. Where were we? We were in El Paso really recently. And all of our dressers were high school students.
Oh, that's
and it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
They were doing
and you would think initially, like, oh, they're so young, they don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. It's actually the opposite, because they are young and they know they're surrounded by adults. They desperately want to do a good job, and they desperately don't want to be the thing that makes the show plummet. You know what I mean? So I had a dresser. I mean, this little girl was on my neck the whole time. I was like, honey, you can sit. Like, you can like back up a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's COVID. You know what I mean? Like, you need anything? I was like, girl, like, I don't go back on for 10 minutes. I'm talking about standing there with my pants. I'm like, honey, I got 30 minutes before I go back on stage. Put the pants down. Go get yourself a Snickers, okay? So, you know.
When I was in high school, in like the first 2 years of college, like, I feel like you have everything to lose because you don't have it yet, you know. But then, you know, when you start like, you know, like living and getting a few things, you're just like, I don't care anymore. It's like I don't have, like, it's not that we don't have, we still do have things to lose, but we don't care anymore. You know, you know what I mean?
The stakes
like,
don't feel as high.
Exactly.
It really goes back to like your intention. Like, if your intention is to do good, then the reputation or like what happens after is really none of your business. And you're doing the best you can, and that's all you can do. And one thing that I like to do is, not to like get deep or anything, but like, even if I have a bad show or what I would consider a bad show, I think about the audience, and I think, did the audience have a good time? Did the audience see something that was worth their money that they paid for? And if the answer is yes, then it's okay. It's not that deep. Go to bed. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
Was the audience actively booing me?
Yeah.
No. Well, we can talk about booing.
Oh,
we
no.
can talk about booing.
People boo?
Oh, no.
What happened?
Child, y'all ain't ready.
Oh, no.
So we were in Detroit.
When you first opened?
When we first opened, girl. And so Detroit,
the Rooster Tail.
it was when was this? This was December, so it was football season. Detroit had not won. It was some sort of special game or something in football. It was the game before the Super Bowl that like would give them a spot in the Super Bowl or something. They had not won in like 15 years, like something they had not won. And so I guess from what I was told later, they had just lost to Ohio. And as y'all know, in my track, I play a what? Ohio cop.
Right.
So it was a boozy Friday night.
Oh no.
Boozy. Okay. And I mean, the audience was eating up the show. They was having a good time. They was loving it. And we got to Act 2, and I came on stage with my little Ohio badge and my hat. And it's the famous line where Tommy says, "Oh, sorry, I forgot we were in Ohio." Y'all, it turned into a boo frenzy. I'm talking about boo, boo. It was equally mortifying and hilarious. Like I wanted to crack up on stage. And I checked in with Devin and he checked in with me. And I would consider myself like, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I'm a pretty good comedic actor. So I was like waiting for like it to die down just a little bit for us to move on. But I wanted them to kind of get it off the chest. Yeah. So I let them go or whatever. And then when I said the famous line, with the record, with the vinyl, like, "Can I get Frankie's autograph?" I had them and they was all cracking up after that. So I said, "Okay, you don't hate me. You just you feeling a little salty about your football team. It's okay. It's okay."
How do they feel about Love Muffin?
They love Muffin.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you something. I love doing that scene.
Can you do it for us? Can you make it out to, how do you do it?
Yes, I can. So I go, so this is my backstory of my Ohio cop. So I believe that the Ohio cop is like a deputy, right? He's absolutely not a sheriff. And I have to justify me playing him because I'm young. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, he's clearly a deputy. He ain't really got no power. You know what I'm saying? He probably never even shot a gun, And so I have it that the vinyl or the record is for his girlfriend. And in my mind, his girlfriend just broke up with him.
Oh.
So in my mind, the reason why I get to laugh is because the whole scene I'm putting on my big man voice, because I'm actually like a young deputy and ain't got no business telling people what to do. So I have on my big voice and I'm like, the station house, to wait for the judge, and I have this big voice on. But when I take that vinyl out, I go, "Frankie's autograph?" And then that gets a laugh. And then he says, I give him the record, and then he comes over and I say, "Make it out to Love Muffin." And I start to cry.
King!
That's
an amazing interpretation.
Amazing. We've never seen that. So
I do it.
The most famous one is John Edwards, who did it on Broadway for a million years. He was like, "Make it out to Love Muffin."
Yeah.
Yes. Now, see, here's the thing. I tried that a few times. I tried that in Detroit. But I just knew it would be, I don't know. It just
doesn't go with your characterization.
Well, to say it that way, like, "Make it out to Love Muffin," it felt too much like how I've been doing all the other lines. And so I was like, I thought to myself, if there's a big change in the character, like if there's a huge like shift in who he is, even like my body language, I changed it a little bit. And we see like, oh, he ain't got no power. Like he's this little boy in Ohio. You know what I mean? So when I say Love Muffin, and I actually, it gets a laugh every night. It kills. And what brings me the most joy is cracking up John. That brings me the most joy is cracking up John. So yeah, I love that scene. Love that scene.
The fact that you could try things and they, because usually that doesn't happen, especially with
it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's absolutely parameters. Like there's absolutely certain things I have to do. Like, for example, and you all have seen the show a million times, so I'm sure you'll know. I don't know why, but when I say the line, what is the line? I say, you're not offering me a bribe, are you? Because that's a Class B felony. I don't know why, but I was specifically told that I have to put my hand on my hat and tilt it on that line. So there are some things that just are the way that they are because that's the way the show is. And they want to keep a uniformity for all the other productions. Mm-hmm. But Michael Bello, our director, he was really cool with letting me play around, you know?
That's great.
He was really cool with it. My Barry Belson monologue is nowhere like anybody else's. And I actually said the monologue the way I say it now, how I said it regionally at the Phoenix Theater Company. Mm-hmm. And so when I did that in my audition and I got a laugh from Des, that's all I needed. You know what I mean? Like, that was it.
We have to.
Could you do it for us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So I go, and you're listening to me, Barry Belson, WCFA Radio. We're in our 17th hour, locked inside the studio. And yes, we're still playing the same song.
I love that, Barry.
We have to say it like that now every time.
Yeah, every time.
You have to.
Being so creative because you can jazz it up.
Yeah.
Thank you. And let me tell you something. People notice because there was a girl, I can't remember her name, this sweet teenage girl. She was maybe like 17, 18. She saw us in Arizona. And she said, this is my 20th time seeing the show. And the first thing she said to me when she stepped up to me was, I love the way you said Barry Belson. When you said Barry Belson, that's the first thing she said. And I was like, yeah, it helped. It felt good that I made a choice and stuck with it and someone appreciated it. You know what I mean?
I have a technical question. So on Instagram, you posted an audio clip of when you did An Angel Cried in Phoenix.
Yes.
And you sang it in C major, like almost 4 or 5 steps down below.
Yeah.
Was that a discussion that you had with the music director? Is that something that you worked out? Because are you singing it in F major now?
So I'll tell you. Okay. So when I did the show in Phoenix, like I've said, it was a regional production. And our production was so amazing. It was so much fun. Some of the most funnest moments I've had. We had the amazing Marissa in it, who's an icon. We had Justin Albinder, who's an icon in the making, playing Frankie. It was amazing. But they allowed us to switch some things up. You know what I'm saying? They allowed us to do certain things that maybe would not be allowed on tour when it comes to riffs, when it comes to runs, when it comes to even key changes. And so our music director, I sang my audition in the correct key, in the F major. And I actually opted up at the end.
Javid's favorite words, opt up.
Those are my favorite delicious words.
I actually opted up at the end to make sure nobody was getting that part but me. and I went into a rehearsal with him and he said, you know, you can do it. You sound great, but there's no reason to be singing in the rafters. Like, there's just no reason to be. So he had no problem transposing it down. He just had no issue with it. And so that's how I did it. And even the key that I did it at that time, I still opted up at the end. So cut to being in this production, I obviously sing it in the F major and it's fine, you know, it's great. But it's interesting because when you listen to Titus's version on the soundtrack, it's a half step up. And so it's like, what? Hal Miller did not sing this high. So why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing it? You know, but I love it. Hal
Miller sang it more towards the key that you sang it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think even a little bit lower.
So this is funny. This is really funny. It's like raising the bar. Hal Miller singing in an E flat Frankie Valli sang it in E, and you're singing it in F now, but then you sang it in C.
I sang it. Oh yeah. When I sang it in Phoenix, I was in the basement. I was like, I was very much, which is why I would opt up every night and I would just take it. Because the key I sang in Phoenix was then raindrops fell down from the sky. The day you left me, an angel cried. Oh, she cried, an angel cried. She cried. And then I would go, oh, cry. Oh. And I would end it that way.
So nice.
But the video that I have on Instagram, I only opted up a little bit. I didn't go up all the way. But you can ask Justin Albinder. I would tick it up.
You did some really nice riffs on that. Nice runs too.
Thank you.
Leslie Odom Jr. did an interview. It was a print interview. And he said, and I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts on this. I don't want to misquote him.
Right.
So he said, he's especially happy that Hamilton has opened doors to more inclusion on Broadway. He remembered being a part of Broadway's Jersey Boys, which that was a total misprint because it wasn't on Broadway at that time. The story Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons, which didn't offer a leading role opportunity for a person of color. So he said, this is his quote, with Jersey Boys, I was there opening night to see, wow, this is what a birth of phenomenon feels like. And with no envy, honestly, I looked with marvel at the opportunity that was going to create for four white guys, that they would basically get to go to these wonderful colleges and universities and learn these skills, how to act. I was like, that's amazing for four white guys. And it has been. And it was for what, 12 years? I watched kids come out of Carnegie and Juilliard and go into Jersey Boys and find the best of themselves. I didn't have that. I was in the back of Jersey Boys. I was literally backstage doubling Frankie Valli's vocals. That didn't exist for us. It didn't exist for Lynn.
Everything that Leslie said is extremely felt and extremely close to home. I will say, let me say this and then get it out the way. I'm extremely blessed because my cast is amazing. I genuinely love and adore everyone in my cast. I genuinely love our dressers. I genuinely love our stage managers. I have been very much embraced because you have to understand, not only am I the only Black person in the cast, but I'm also one of 3 newcomers to the tour because everyone else is a returning actor from before the pandemic. And so I want to get that out the way first, just to say I have not felt any type of anything negative when it comes to skin color or my culture in the show. However, you know, I've been asked before by people like, oh, how does it feel being the only Black person in the show? And my question to them is, how would you feel if you were the only whatever in the show? And it does feel weird a little bit to like be backstage doubling Frankie and lending my voice to him. It does feel a little bit weird. It does have kind of historically negative, kind of like a negative theme to it. You know what I mean? Like not being seen, but singing it backstage, but not being seen. It absolutely feels unfortunate and sad to be Black and only get to like celebrate Black culture within a 30-second song of An Angel Cried. But for the rest of the show, anybody can play the parts. You know what I'm saying? With the exception of An Angel Cried and Yannick, obviously. Anyone can play the Ohio Cop. Anyone can play whoever. So it does, if I'm being completely honest, it does feel like tokenism. It absolutely does. I absolutely don't think that was their intention from the very beginning. But also, you have to remember when the show was made. It's a different time now, as we've said, you know, earlier before. we all have like this morality list now of what we need and what we don't need. And it's very clear that the show was written a while back and that maybe they weren't thinking about inclusion. I will say though, and this is a conversation that I did have with some of my cast members, and this is why it's important for you to trust your gift and to trust the trajectory of your life and what God has placed in you to do. I don't wake up every day, I don't wake up every day to go do Jersey Boys every night and feel like I was cast because they needed someone to fill a diversity clause. I don't feel like a token. I don't feel like somebody who was just placed in there so that they can not get canceled. I don't feel that way. Even though the atmosphere may be a well-working machine to make me feel that way, I don't have that within my body. I don't have that in my mind or in my heart because I know what God has put me on this earth to do. And I believe that I am meant to be in this position to be representation for somebody. And for me, that is more than enough of a reason to continue doing what I do. I'm not saying I don't want to be an Ain't Too Proud. I want to be an Ain't Too Proud tomorrow, okay? I want to play Eddie Kendricks so bad and be in an all-black show because I am blackity black, 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 and I love it. But I am also a Black boy who grew up in Indianapolis. And I would go to we have this big, huge theater house. It was called the, what was it called? It was called the Mirage, and now it's called the Old National Center. And that's where our tours come in. I was that little Black boy in the audience, being the only Black person watching a show that you would think I have no business knowing about or loving or watching. I was that little Black boy who was watching Barbra Streisand videos and things like that. So if there's even a slight chance that there is a Black person in the audience of Jersey Boys who sees me and is inspired by something that I do or something that I sing or how I come down the steps real fly in my Yannick costume and they see a glimpse of themselves, that is absolutely more than enough for me to continue what I'm doing. And in the meantime, I'm also going to work on my own projects. And I'm also going to continue my personal contribution to the world of Black culture. Mm-hmm. But I understand and completely respect what Leslie said. I absolutely feel that. But I know I wake up every day with gratitude and I know that I have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
And I'm very careful with protecting, as I said earlier, I'm very careful with protecting my peace. And I absolutely, as you all see in this podcast, I have no problem telling people what it is and how it is. I consider myself an extremely transparent person, an authentic person. So I don't have to worry about, let's just say I don't feel special because I'm the only Black person in the show. I do think it is a responsibility and I'm willing to handle that task.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, King. Well, I'm relieved that you don't feel like you don't feel pressure or you don't feel
the tokenism.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I just want to make it very clear.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is literally created to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
So everything Leslie said is 100% true. It's absolutely a machine and a story and a tracking system. And it's just, all of it is made for someone to feel that way. And it looks that way. Mm-hmm. But for me, like I said, I just don't, I don't allow it to make me feel negative or be negative. But I also don't think that I deserve a gold star because I'm the one Black boy who got into the room. I'll tell you a story. Like when I was in the audition, it was the dance callback. And obviously I knew who was up for the role because we were all Black. You know, I I wasn't in the room with white people thinking, well, I'm against him, I'm against him. Like, no, it was very clear who we were all there to be. And I was in the audition. It was me and this other guy, and we were neck and neck. The entire week, we were neck and neck, and they kept us the whole week. And then these mofos on the final dance call decided to have these random, like, 4 Black guys come into the callback. And so me and the other guy looking at each other like, where did they come from? And I'm telling you, honest to God, and there are people who probably don't feel this way, but honest to God, the 4 of us were, for those 2-3 hours, we were brothers. Oh. We were helping each other out with our choreography. We were like, bruh, if you don't get it, I want you to get it. The guy who I was up against, I told him before we left the audition, the final audition, I said, give me your number. I will absolutely let you know as soon as I hear something. And please, if you book it, let me know. Because neither of us want to be sitting on our hands just waiting. You know what I mean? And so I say all that to say, I don't feel like I'm just so fabulous and just, I'm just amazing because I'm the one Black person they chose. I'm the chosen pick-me Black person. I don't feel that way. I absolutely see what the situation is for what it is. But I know who I am, and I trust my gift, and I trust where God's going to take me. So this is only a for now thing. And it's important for me to let people know what the deal is, and that Black people absolutely have a hand in the Frankie Valli and Four Seasons sound.
Big time.
Exactly.
Big time.
Yeah.
A salud.
A salud.
A salud.
So, how much are we talking?
No, I'm just kidding. Yes. well, can you also mention how you have other hobbies and other things that you want to do, and your TikTok and King's Corner.
King's
so cool.
Corner.
Yeah, you mentioned how for actors, this is definitely pivoting to a pure actor part of the conversation. Like, as an actor, you're working to audition.
Your
yes.
job.
Yeah,
is audition.
That's it. Yes,
actor's
your job is to audition, not
That is the biggest. I think that is probably the biggest misconception that you can feed to young actors, especially in college, because there's this idea. Because we're theater kids, so y'all know, like, you're auditioning to get cast in a show. And you just kind of feel a high when you get cast in those shows, especially if you're like not a senior and you audition for a show and you get into it, you get this high. And I feel like when you continuously do that, you kind of trick yourself into thinking like, oh, this is what my career is going to be. The rehearsals are what my career is going to be. The like one-on-one time I have with the director and being backstage, this is what I'm training to do. That's a lie. You are absolutely training to be an auditioning actor, because at the end of our lives, the average actor, you will have auditioned more. You will have been in an audition room more than you will have been on a stage. Mm-hmm. And that is just period how the deal is. Unless you're blessed to be in a show like Jersey Boys that runs forever and you decide to stay in the show forever. For most actors, when you add it up, it's those auditions that are going to take all of your physical strength. It's absolutely going to take all your mental strength. And it's absolutely going to dictate what you do for the rest of your life. It's not always going to be, you're not always going to be able to sit in a contract and be like, oh, well, I'm good. I'm a working actor and this is what it is. Like, no, you're going to audition. And the cliche, it takes 100, 100 no's to 1 yes. Yeah. It's not so cliche and it's not so dramatic. It's actually quite true. Because let me tell y'all, I went to New York before the pandemic. So this was January of 2020. This was my first time going to New York by myself. I stayed with a sister of mine and I auditioned like crazy. I think I did 69 auditions within those 3 months. Now, mind you, I don't think that means I deserve like a cake for that. Don't do that. If anyone's listening, don't do that. Like, no one should be having to audition 3 times a day during audition season. I was crazy. I hadn't been in New York before. I was just young and stupid. But I say all that to say, I auditioned so much and did not get a single call back. I got one, let me tell y'all something. I got one call back it was for Hamilton for Thomas Jefferson.
What?
Nice.
And literally 2 days later, the pandemic shut everything down. And so I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, you cannot, I'm telling you, there is something so empowering about having hobbies and having things that you like to do that have nothing to do with someone casting you in something. Because if your happiness is going to be solely based on someone casting you in something, you ain't gonna be happy.
Exactly.
Because auditioning actors, I'm telling you, auditioning actors know where it's at, because that's where the technique comes in. That's where the prayer and meditation comes in. That's where absolutely the dance training comes in. That's the thing that you need to be worried about and working towards when you're in these conservatories and when you are taking classes, is learning how to be an auditioning actor, and not so much, an actor who walks into rehearsal with a water, bottle and a scarf over your neck. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't gonna get to do that all the time. You ain't.
You work your way there. You have to earn that. You have to earn the scarf.
Truly. And it'll happen for everybody. If you keep, like, the universe literally has no choice. If you keep auditioning, you'll book something. Like, that's inevitable. Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But for some people, it takes one. For some people, it takes 501.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it, because, like, we're all supposed to experience different things. That's what creates a story. That's what makes an actor empathetic in order to play another person who happened to go through this.
Exactly.
And no one is better than anybody else.
The competition is, like, people, when you brought up that story about how, those other guys who were in there with you in the room, how you became brothers. You were like, hey, if you don't get it, I'll get it for you. Why? It's like, why do we compete against each other? Why do we try to tear each other down? Like, why do we try to do that?
Yeah. It's another unfortunate situation where the atmosphere is made for that. Like, the atmosphere is made for competition and rivalry. Viola Davis did an interview with Oprah, and she said, because for Black actresses, Black women actors, the amount of roles are just so minuscule. Like, there's just not a lot. And I think people get confused, because when you look at when you look at what's on Broadway right now, you see Tina, you see Ain't Too Proud. Well, you did see Ain't Too Proud. You see, like, these shows with Black women, you kind of forget. They're like, no. Overall, there's not that many. And she used an analogy of a cage of rats. And she said, if you have a cage full of rats and you throw one small piece of cheese in it, it's human nature for the rats to claw at each other. And so that is the atmosphere that is created when it comes to being an actor. It's literally created for you to think like, oh, I hope he doesn't get it. I hope that he, messes up, or this, that, and the third. But the reality is, there's room for all of us. Exactly. There's absolutely room for all of us. And that's why I think, to what you were alluding to, I say on my TikTok, I say, get some hobbies. Like, get something that you like to do that ain't got nothing to do with somebody picking you to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's hard for me because I'm on tour. I have a whole carry-on. I'm looking at it right now, full of skincare. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from doing a face mask. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from doing a body scrub, a body conditioner, my vitamin C serum. That is something that I love, that has absolutely nothing to do with competition or going into a room hoping that they like my hair or don't like this or do like this. It's too much. It's too much for any human. So I always tell people, get a hobby. Get something that you like to do. I'll tell you what, I just thought of one other thing that I wanted to hit on. I just thought of, because you asked me such a good question. It's been in the back of my mind this whole time. And I hope you'll keep this in the podcast. When you were saying, how can you tell, and I don't want to mess up your questions, it was so good. You said, how can you tell the difference between if a POC is put in a show, if it's
forced or if it's
genuine.
Forced, if it's forced or genuine? I'll tell you a great example. because it happened to me in this show. So I booked Jersey Boys, and I've always had hair my entire life. I have baby pictures of me with hair down to my address, down to my behind, okay? And hair is a very important thing in the Black community that goes all the way back to slavery. And so it did not occur to, I was so excited and so grateful and so hyped to book Jersey Boys. I had no idea. I didn't even think like, oh, what am I gonna do with my hair? And so I was in rehearsals and I was speaking to Stacy, our stage manager, who is amazing. And we were talking about a costume fitting or something. And somehow we got on the conversation of hair. Maybe I said something about it, like, oh, what should I do? Should I braid it? Should I whatever? And the boys, the Jersey Boys in the cast, the ensemble, they were all going to go to this place in New York to get their hair cut for us to go to Detroit to prepare, for the tour. And I was talking about picking up something or braiding my hair. I was basically trying to talk to her about how I'm going to prep my hair every night, because it is a thing for Black people, especially with Black natural hair. Having to prep your hair is very different from, like, say, a white girl who could just do pin curls under her wig. It's a little different. And so I was asking her that, and she said, oh, so, like the guys, they're going to go get their hair cut at so-and-so in Manhattan. So, you could just go with them. And when you go get your hair cut, and I was like, whoa, what happened? And she was like, yeah, when you go get your hair cut or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to cut my hair. And she was like, aha, really? And I was like, yeah, why would I cut my hair? Black people had hair in the 60s and 70s. Why would I need to do that? And also, no one's making the white girls cut their hair. They're going to prep it. They're going to pin curl it. They're going to do what they have to do before the show and put it under their wig. Can I get a wig? Like, is that a possibility? And she said, you know what? Let me talk to some people and we will figure it out. And about 2 weeks later, we had this amazing wig woman come in and she built a wig right on my head.
Amazing.
And so I think that there's a lot to unpack in that. So for one, the idea that I was just going to cut my hair to fit into the show is a little disturbing. It's backwards. And it also shows, just frankly, a lack of knowledge and a lack of education. Because if I can be wigged, why wasn't that the first thing? Why did we automatically go to chopping my hair off, something that I've been having all of my life? But also, I have to say, I respect and I love the Dodgers, and I love Stacy, my stage manager, for saying, hey, this is a young actor who is saying he does not want to chop off something that's important to him and his culture. And we need to get him a wig ASAP. And that's what they did. So that, I think, shows a big distinction on if somebody is placed in a show and it's just, we're going to throw you in this little box, or, throw you in this show and just have you say these words, do these things, put this costume on, and we'll just have you be a chocolate version of whatever white thing we always have. As opposed to, no, this is his culture. And we can wig him and don't have to diminish any of his Blackness on our stage. Because ultimately, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was being told in that moment, like, oh, right, that's right. I forgot. I'm different from everybody else, but I have to be uniform and fit the Jersey Boys look. So I have to chop off my hair. Right. Sorry, forgot. And that sucked in those few minutes that I thought that would be the answer. But for them to turn around and make me a wig was amazing. And Black hair in general is such a huge conversation that we don't have to have right now, especially considering what just happened on the Oscars. Did y'all watch the Oscars?
Oh yeah.
That was the first Oscars I watched in over 7 years. Well, no, okay, we watched it in 2021, but like the first big Oscars event.
Yeah.
And that happened.
So
Yeah.
you came at the right time. You watched a good show.
We almost didn't get to see it.
We had rehearsal and then we got back.
We almost didn't get to
see
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of, like I said, like being the only Black person at my college university, being the only Black person in Jersey Boys, I witnessed a lot of insensitivity and a lot of just lack of education. Like for perfect example, and I'm going to use you as an example. Earlier in the podcast, you described Brittany Johnson's wig as nappy, right? The thing about using that term is I was not offended when you said it. However, because your hair can't be nappy, that's a word that should only be used by people whose hair can be nappy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And even in the Black community, that's a word that we're trying to kind of get rid of, because we're trying to create a space where all hair is beautiful hair and all hair is quote unquote good hair. And so the moment I just had to have with you just now is a moment that I've had to have a few times throughout my life, throughout my career with educating people, which sometimes is hard to carry. But when I feel the need to, and when I feel the space is safe, like it is right now, I have absolutely no problem expressing my feelings. And I would encourage other people, I say this on my TikTok, never be afraid to speak up about anything that offends you or that hurts you, even if it is not right in that moment. I think that we sometimes think that if I don't say something right away, then I missed my chance. And then we get afraid that people will say, well, why didn't you say something when it happened?
Right.
You know what I mean? We say that to women all the time. We say that to women.
That's the biggest.
Yep.
We say that to women all the time. And it's like, yo, if somebody was hurt physically, emotionally, whatever, there is no expiration date on that at all. And so I'm so grateful to this day. I love telling that story about my wig because I happen to love my wig. I think it looks amazing in the show. And I love telling that story because it was a moment where I chose to speak up and it worked out. And so I would encourage other people to make sure that they do that. And I think that is a reason why I feel every day that at the end of the day, the company of Jersey Boys does not treat me like a token. Even though it may feel that way and look that way, I absolutely feel like there was effort in making me feel like I was chosen for something more than just to fill a diversity quota. And I would encourage other productions to do that because we see it all the time as Black people and we know the difference.
Context is so important.
Yes.
People
And thank you for telling us.
Yeah.
About
yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when she first started doing the show,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't providing her with the hair that would represent her.
Right.
And
because originally they weren't thinking she would become Glinda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gia saw it last month and I just recently saw it. I hadn't seen it in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this was and her, thank God, like her wig looked so good.
Amen.
It looked so good.
Amen.
And it looked like she felt happy wearing it. It looked like she felt like it was representing her as much as she was representing the character.
Yeah. I love that.
I love that.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Literally. That's the goal.
100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, I
love y'all. I can talk to y'all forever.
I know.
You're right. Us too.
I really do.
I will admit, and I do want to tell you, because so in 2020, making podcasts is just what you do. So I'm a huge Disney Channel person. That's why I reference it a lot. But I started this thing called Decom Party. And it's very short-lived, maybe like 6 or 7 episodes. Please don't look it up. But have you seen The Color of Friendship?
Yes. Years ago.
Amazing. Yeah. So at the, when everything was happening, like with the riots and the protests, I wanted to really like talk about it. And in my previous job, I'm actually like really one of the only white people at my job, where we were motivational speakers for middle schoolers and high schoolers in all 5 boroughs of the city. So I was working in mostly, Black and Hispanic schools. And I was, so I learned a lot, just me, just being in there and meeting new friends. So I asked a few to come on and have us all watch the movie and discuss it together and see if it holds up to today, and, just to make it relevant.
Right.
But I got bashed, and I don't know if it was right or wrong, but I was accused of being performative, and that was not my intention, but it came across that way to somebody. And I felt so bad. And I was like, no, I was like, it just felt like the perfect time. Obviously, it's not like the show was even like a thing. It was really just it was a hobby at the time, just to do something and just to have a different way of talking about it, like through art, to see if maybe this was a vessel for people who were uncomfortable and didn't know how to talk about it, to talk about it through the movie. So that was my intention. But yeah, but I learned, like, timing is very important too. Yeah. It's like, so why would you do this now? Like, were you planning on talking about this movie? And I'm like, honestly, I was, but my answer didn't matter because I did it at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that,
she was struggling with it a lot.
Well, I just thought, I was just like, I'm like, you know me, I would never want to do that. But at the same time, like, I had a major check with myself. So I knew never to do that again, or just be like, hey, like, I want to do this. Maybe I don't need to be the one to talk. It's my turn to listen. And that was definitely, that was the biggest lesson I learned in 2020, was I didn't have to be a part of
that. Was
like that.
That's the key. I said a lot in 2020. I said, if you're white and you don't know, ask, but prepare your body and your spirit for whatever the response is, because not everybody's response is going to be the same, or it's going to feel good. And frankly, that's okay.
Of course.
That's okay. So it sounds like your intention was good, and it sounds like you took it in stride, and it sounds like you checked yourself. And that's ultimately that's what we want. We want people to try.
Exactly.
Definitely tried. Well, and that's why, like, we hope that this episode, like, doesn't feel like we're acting that way,
Yeah, we hope it doesn't feel forced.
Like, yeah, well,
well, let me go ahead and say, and I hope that you'll keep this in there. Let's not act like y'all just invited me out of the blue. I low-key stalked y'all. So you don't need to feel like this is performative for y'all, because this was very much something that I wanted to do. I absolutely was not slick. I was liking y'all's post, and I was like, hey,
thank you.
Y'all want to talk? You guys look cool. Like, if you want to talk, And then I just thought, like, especially during Black History Month, I was like, there's so few Black men who have done this role. I was like, hey, like, let's represent, like, let's showcase, let's uplift the few Black people we've had. Even though it's been a little, that doesn't mean they're invisible. And so I appreciate you all inviting me onto the show, because y'all could have just posted my picture and that could have been it. Extremely grateful. I'm so grateful that you all asked me to be on this podcast.
We couldn't have you on earlier.
I know, in February.
It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. And I've been busy anyway, as you know. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Booked and blessed, sir.
Damn right.
Booked and blessed.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That leads to the whole New York conversation. Because this is something we always end up talking about. So I admit I am still struggling with the whole New York or nowhere idea, because it's purely an ego thing. Have you heard of that? Like, so basically it's like
no, what is that?
It's like Broadway or bust.
Like New York is the best, like, and if you're anywhere else, like, F you. That's pretty much the whole thing. And so we learned in 2020 that is not the case. And as you were saying, regional houses are amazing. Like, theater needs to be everywhere. But it was like, well, I'm here and you're not. It's that kind of attitude. Just terrible. But it makes you think about, your discovery. It's like, so then why am I here? Why do I want to be here? Can I just go home? Like, what's, and our friend Eddie was saying, like, he wishes that, like, there were, like, government, like there was a budget for local actors, so they can actually like
Yes.
stay in a certain like district, and work professionally in each district.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think it's such an interesting idea.
I never even would have thought of that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would definitely come up with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, because he was like, he said, I'm very happy that I'm here, but I resent the fact that I had to come here.
Very much so.
That was-
Because frankly, just because you want to be on Broadway and you love acting and singing and dancing, it don't mean that your body and your whole spirit is made for the subway system. Like, yo, I want my car. I want to go to the Target in my car, you know?
Yep.
I mean, you can't. Here, listen, I feel New Yorkers right now under the comments about to throw tomatoes at me. I'm sorry. But, you know, especially me growing up in the Midwest and stuff, it's like, it's not better or worse. It's just very different. It's just not how I grew up.
Different.
Yeah. But, yeah, I can't stand when people act like Broadway is just the pinnacle of everything, because some of the most inventive storytelling I've seen has been in regional houses and on tours. And even with Broadway national tours, there's such a, you know, there are a lot of people who think that we're not Broadway because we're on tour. And it's like, no, we are bringing a Broadway level show to your home. Like, this is a blessing, you know?
People just need to do some research on the world of theater, because if you just all they know is the word Broadway. They don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, the worst question I get now. Oh, so you're an actor. Is Broadway back?
Right.
Yeah, Broadway's back, but like, what about like, you know, community theater is back also.
Exactly. Yes.
Listen, do I ask you about engineering? No, because I don't know shit. So I'm not gonna. I don't know what to ask.
Is engineering
At
back?
all.
Is software development back?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, are you working for Google? Oh, when's your interview for Google?
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Windows. You work at Windows, right? Is Windows back? Are the windows opening? Like,
Is architecture back?
Yep, that's it. Right. Yeah. It's like, are you building that new building on Fifth Avenue? Is there anything available? Like, here's the problem I think with being in the arts is because the arts are so accessible to everyone. So everyone feels like they're an expert and they know everything.
Especially
much so.
movies.
Exactly. Because
especially in the days of social media, everyone has an opinion.
Right. But it's because all of these things are meant for public consumption. Therefore, it's like, oh, well, I've seen this one thing. I know exactly what's going on. It's like, no, you fucking don't. But nobody does, because with social media today, and thankfully, like with all the services, there's just too much content to consume. Way too much.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So everyone has an opportunity to find what they like and you know, and do different things. But for me, I feel like shit because I barely know what's going on right now. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. I my priorities have kind of shifted. Like I'm doing like, for me, film was my first love. And you know, with the Oscars this year, I've only seen maybe 3 out of all the Best Picture nominees, which is awful for me.
Same.
It's so sad. So it's like, okay, I'm fucked. I'm done. I'm not a movie fan anymore. I don't know what's going on. It's like, what to do? But it's just hard, man. So people just need to shut the fuck up.
I always felt the same.
Can't take it anymore.
I always felt the same way before I lived up north. You know,
we're from Florida, by the way.
We're from South Florida. So
I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah. So she's from Boca. I'm from Miami. I'm the real Mr. 305. Okay, I'm the real Mr. 305.
It's true. Ballard.
Okay. Cool.
So
right.
So whenever, you know, before I lived up north, I would watch the Tonys. I'd be like, I don't know a single I'd listen to cast recordings.
Right.
I'd watch all the clips on YouTube, but I don't know, especially the plays. You know, I love a play. I love a play.
Okay.
So
we love words, we love dialogue.
I love psychotic family plays like August Osage County, The Humans. I really love self-discovery, like kind of like losing, kind of like self-discovery through different religions types of plays. Like there's a great play called If I Forget by Stephen Levinson.
I'm writing this down.
Okay.
Who wrote the book for Dear Evan Hansen. There's a great play by Ayad Akhtar, who wrote the play Junk that was on Broadway with with Stephen Pasquale about junk bonds. He also wrote this play called Disgraced.
I think I've heard of that one.
So
that one I've heard of.
Really, really good. But like, so If I Forget and Disgraced are all about people who are struggling with their religion.
Oh, okay.
So, why am I saying this? We love a play. We love plays. We love music.
Knowing.
Oh, right. So like, especially the best play, you know, the best play category, the best revival of play, best action play. Like, I never got to see the plays. You know, like there is less content available on YouTube for plays. Than there is for musicals, because in musicals you can see the Thanksgiving Day Parade performance. You can see the
Tonys.
You can see the Tonys performance. You can see the Broadway and Bryant Park performance. You could see B-roll footage for the trailer.
Bootlegs.
But
you can see bootleg. Listen, we get one bootleg from a play every 5 years. Okay.
Exactly. That's why I love being in New York, because I live right next to the Lincoln Center, and the Lincoln Center has the Theater on Film and Tape archive, which has every single play or musical that was ever on Broadway that was filmed for archival purposes.
I have not been. I need to go.
Next time we're in New York, can we go? If you have an afternoon,
please. Let's all go.
Please.
Let's all go watch a play.
It is the coolest thing you can do in New York.
A play. Yes, absolutely.
So I totally understand where you're coming from, because like I used to feel like that all the time, and that's why I went to 3 colleges in 6 years. I got expelled from the first one. I got expelled from the first one because I skipped all my classes to go see Broadway shows.
Isn't that badass?
I don't regret it for a single fucking second. I was put on academic probation after fall semester going into spring, and then I was asked not to return because I was failing all my classes because I was skipping them to go see Broadway shows. But you can bet I knew every single Broadway show at the Tonys that year.
Right. So you can say you saw every show on Broadway.
But that's your business. So let's move on.
Exactly. Well, it is 11:25. So I think this really is the perfect place to wrap up.
Let me start the benediction.
Yeah.
By saying I apologize for talking for 4 hours.
No.
Please,
please don't apologize, because this was an amazing interview. Yes. And I think everyone is going to love it. And they are going to love you. If they already don't love you, they are going to love you. We'll make them.
Don't you worry.
I know.
We'll send them an unmarked car.
Exactly.
You know.
An unmarked car. Yep. Exactly.
So, King, thank you so much for your honesty, for your empathy, for your respect, for your time, and and your friendship. I think we're all friends now.
Yes, and your friendship. We're friends now.
We have to find a date and location where we're going to see the tour.
Yeah,
and we will.
Please let me know. Please let me know.
We'll make it happen.
Yes, of course. Yeah. All right. Well, you're gonna be in Connecticut soon, right?
We're coming to Connecticut soon, and we'll be in Atlantic City soon. I don't know if that's far from y'all.
Let's do Atlantic City.
I think Atlantic City might be closer than Connecticut.
Yeah.
We're there for like 2 weeks, so.
She's a cute 2 weeks.
Oh, you're there for 2 weeks. Okay.
She's a cute 2 weeks.
That's great.
She's pretty. Yeah.
Let's go. We'll make a weekend out of it.
Pretty fine.
Perfect.
Oh, it's awesome. Okay, great.
Are you going to be at the Hard Rock?
At the Hard Rock? I don't think so. And the only reason why I don't think we are is because our cast, they talk about how they wish we were, because they loved it last time.
Yeah, exactly. They did. They were last time.
Okay. We can hop over there after.
Thank you so much, King.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love y'all. Thank you.
Thank
you so much. Really appreciate it.
Of course. We're glad you had fun.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you. I did. All right. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay.
And let me know if you need anything. Let me know if you need anything.
Us too, please.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.